You are not a body. That is the shock. I know. Everything in your day has been arranged as if you are. The pride when it behaves, the shame when it doesn't, the fear every time it twitches or threatens, and that constant self-management, counting, checking, rehearsing, comparing. But the life of you, the I of you, is not bone and blood and breath. Do you see what I'm getting at? If the body isn't you, what have you been serving? An altar of numbers? A mirror's opinion? A calendar's prophecy? Must we stop caring for the body? Certainly not. Must we stop bathing it, feeding it, training it, examining it? Certainly not. We maintain the instrument because we intend to make music, not because the instrument is the musician. Caring is not worship. Maintenance is not identity. Now you see, the moment the instrument pretends to be the musician, the concert is lost. And the moment you bow to the instrument as self, you inherit its fragility, its vanities, its alarms. There are two idolatries that keep suffering personal. One is worship, the vanity that lives by polish and perfectionism, fussing forever over form, as if flawlessness in flesh could confer life. The other is fear, hypochondria, doom-watching, dread of decline, kneeling to a calendar god that promises only diminishment. They look opposite, but they are twins. Both begin with the same lie. I am this. And then you strive, you scold, you beg, you blame yourself, your past, your genes, your habits. And when it doesn't move, you take the failure personally. Do you see the chain? Here is the promise, and it is not poetry. When identity moves from form to consciousness, to the living awareness through which God's sustaining presence operates, healing ceases to be self-improvement and becomes a change of standpoint. It makes no difference whether it's a pain, a prognosis, or a picture on a screen. Without your consent to be that picture, the picture cannot own you. It makes no difference that a storm rages over the sea. The lighthouse is not the wave. So it is. When you stand in I, the body is revealed as instrument, effect, and indicator. Useful, to be tended, to be listened to, but never the I. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God's. Not as a slogan to hang on your wall, but as practice. Stand. Withdraw the private verdict, the frantic fixing, the accusing question of, what did I do wrong? Be still. Refuse the worship and the fear that keep the drama personal. Let the presence that maintains galaxies maintain this instrument through you, as you. We are not calling on a reactive deity to hurry up. We are recognizing the maintaining principle already at work. And in that recognition, strain dissolves. The tyrant of self-blame steps off the throne. You did not fail. You merely mistook the instrument for the musician. Treat this as something sacred, secret, in this class, in this room of your own heart. You are consciousness, the living eye through which grace shows itself. Begin there, and watch how the body, released from the burden of being you, resumes its rightful work as a faithful, quiet servant. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God's. Now, if the body is not you, then the body is a form, an effect. And effects, my friends, never explain themselves. You can polish a mirror all night, but polishing the glass does not change the face it reflects. It merely removes smudges that were never the face to begin with. Do you see what I'm getting at? When you try to heal the effect as if it were the cause, you are asking the mirror to manufacture the face. Nonsense. You are scrubbing the shadow to brighten the sun. Now you see, The question is not, how do I adjust the object? But, from what cause is this object appearing, and can I be still enough to let the right cause reveal its natural fruit? Take money, since that always wakes up a room. If I slipped a $10,000 bill into every hand here, it would set off a lovely excitement. But tell me, would you choose to be grateful for the bill, or for the ability that generates bills whenever needed? It isn't the paper that sustains you. It is the capacity, the invisible fecundity, that produces as surely as breath comes and goes. So it is with health. You can be thrilled that a rash faded, or a reading improved, or a scan turned clean. Must we stop being grateful for that? Certainly not. But understand, to park your gratitude on the vanishing picture is to make yourself just as anxious about the next picture. Mature gratitude looks through the cleared symptom to the sustaining presence that dissolved it. I'm not grateful that the mark is gone. I am grateful for the grace that reveals harmony where no mark can endure. It makes no difference becomes a stabilizing refrain in your practice. It makes no difference what the thermometer says if you are learning to contact the fire. It makes no difference what the gauge reads on the dashboard if you are attending to the engine itself. It makes no difference that the tide is out if you know the law that brings it in. Rearranging forms without awakening to cause is like repainting the dial to make the pressure rise. It will keep you busy. It will never give you peace. Peace is found at the source. Now you see how this corrects struggle. When you stop petitioning the picture to be kind and turn instead to recognition of the principle that forever sustains, strain drops out. The effect follows, as naturally as sunshine follows dawn, because cause has taken its rightful place in your awareness. Do you see? We are not tinkering with objects. We are consenting to the cause that forever expresses as harmony. And that leads to the necessary question for our next step. If you are consciousness, if cause must find an outlet, what then is the body in spiritual terms? Not identity, but instrument. Not a self, but a temple. Not a power, but an indicator and an outlet for grace. We will take that up and let it settle into practice. Let us be very clear in this room, because this is where people stumble and then punish themselves for stumbling. The body is not evil, and it is not nothing. It is not an enemy, and it is not a god. It is a temple, an instrument, and it is an indicator, but never identity. Must we stop caring for it? Certainly not. Must we despise it to be spiritual? Certainly not. To despise the violin because you have discovered the music would be nonsense. You care for the instrument because you intend to let music be heard. You polish it, you tune it, you keep it safe. Not because the varnish is symphony, but because the symphony requires an outlet. Now you see, when consciousness is understood as the living cause, the body takes its rightful place as effect. The I that you are is invisible presence, life, awareness, and that I reveals as body, as function, as movement and speech and sight. The instrument is blessed to be used by the musician. The temple is hallowed because of the presence it houses. But the temple is not the presence. Do you see what I'm getting at? Identity is never at the mercy of the bricks. Take it further. The body is an indicator light. It reports, that's all. It reports what is being entertained in thought, what is being consented to in fear, what is being realized in peace. The indicator is not a judge, it is a reporter. When a warning light flashes on the dashboard, do you scold the bulb? Do you sue the dashboard? No. You thank it for the notice and you turn to the engine, to the source. So it is. When tension, fatigue, or pain appears, the body is simply indicating the climate of consent in consciousness, what we have been permitting, resisting, magnifying, or ignoring. Now you see, when you stop personalizing it, you stop punishing yourself for it. The body is not a moral report card. You have not failed because a light came on. You have been informed. Beware the pendulum. Denying the body while being terrified of it is still body worship. Denying the body while obsessing over ignoring it, still bondage. We will not run to asceticism and call it spirituality, nor will we run to indulgence and call it love. We will honor the instrument without bowing to it. We will listen to its indicators without making idols of its pictures. It makes no difference whether the needle swings left or right if you are learning to abide at the cause. For then, the needle takes care of itself. Practically, this means feed it, rest it, wash it, move it, yes, but do not assign it the role of self. Listen to it the way a craftsman listens to a tool, the way a priest tends a sanctuary. If a string is out of tune, adjust it. If the lamp is low, add oil. But understand, the melody is never created by polishing the case. The harmony you seek is realized when you open, quietly, secretly, to the presence that uses this instrument for its own expression. Treat this as something sacred. In your inner sanctuary, let the body stand as temple and instrument, useful, cared for, listened to, and let your gratitude pass through the temple to the indwelling. Then you are ready for our next work, which is not mechanical fixing at all, but opening the channel, becoming the conscious transparency through which life, realized, flows in effortless correction. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God's. Now, having placed the body where it belongs, as temple and instrument, you can hear the hidden cruelty that has masqueraded as help in the so-called healing world. Try harder, think better, be more disciplined, fix yourself. Do you see what I'm getting at? That program quietly enthrones self-blame. Every symptom becomes a report card, every flare a verdict, and you, the defendant and the judge, condemn yourself in the very courtroom of your own heart. Must we abandon discipline? Certainly not. But understand this: when healing is made a personal project, strain takes the throne, and the very effort that promises freedom tightens the knot. Have you ever tugged at a sailor's knot? The harder you pull, the tighter it cinches. Have you ever watched someone in quicksand? Struggle is the sink. So it is the paradox of sincere effort in spiritual work. The more you battle an appearance, the more reality and importance you lend it. Fear gives it vitality. Obsession gives it attention. Willpower, oh, that proud little tyrant, gives it a crown. And then you call that healing work. Nonsense. It is the human will pretending to be the healer. And it never was. The healer is not force. The healer is presence realized. Non-resistance is not passivity. It is law. Evil is not a power, and if you do not arm it with your opposition, it proceeds to undo itself. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God. That isn't embroidery for a parlor wall. It is instruction. The battle is not yours because the cause is not yours. God is a creative, maintaining, sustaining principle. You can't call on it to start doing what it is already doing. And any prayer which aims at trying to get God to do something, let's put it plainly, is sheer stupidity. The sun does not have to be bullied into rising. The tide does not answer to your panic. it fulfills its nature. Now you see the relief. The moment you stop taking the universe on your back and making my healing your private construction project, strain evaporates. Stillness enters where struggle was, and in stillness, consent is withdrawn. That is the key. Stillness is not a trick to get a result. Stillness is the refusal to lend reality to the picture. When you refuse to fight the fire on the movie screen, you remember the projector. When you cease swatting at shadows, you turn and meet the light. And in that recognition, quiet, secret, sacred, the knot loosens of itself, because you have ceased tightening it with your fear. You ask then, what is mine to do? If the battle is not yours, what is yours? Not to fight the body, and not to force the mind. Yours is to open consciousness to grace, to rest in the realization that the principle which formed this instrument maintains it in harmony. Sit you down quietly. Wait until the inner peace, not manufactured but present, reveals itself. Treat this as something sacred, secret, in this class, in your heart. Do not boast of it. Do not argue for it. Stand ye still. Let the presence that breathes galaxies breathe this body back to order through you, as you, not by your doing, but by your non-resistance. And then you will discover that healing is not an achievement. It is a byproduct of realized identity. It makes no difference how loud the symptom clamors. When you have ceased to crown it with your struggle, grace has unimpeded way. Now we come to the point where most of the world has been wasting breath and breaking hearts. Prayer as persuasion. Do you see what I'm getting at? The very premise of petitionary prayer is that God is absent, unwilling, or asleep until you wake him with your pleading. And what does that do to you? It breeds anxiety. It fastens guilt. It makes you measure your performance. Did I pray enough? Did I use the right words? Did I change God's mind? Nonsense. You cannot change principle. God is not a reactive agent waiting for a signal flare from Earth. God is a creative, maintaining, sustaining presence, operating as law, as life, as the order by which stars do not collide and tides keep their appointment. Must we stop praying? Certainly not. We must stop foolish praying. We must stop trying to get God to do what God never stopped doing. We don't sit up all night praying the sun up. We recognize sunrise. We arrange our life by its certainty. When the tide is out, we do not go to the shore and bargain. We understand its rhythm, and we prepare the nets. So it is with healing. Prayer is recognition of what is, of what forever is. Be still and know, not be noisy and convince. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God. Not a slogan, instruction. Be still long enough to recognize the presence ever at hand, and in that recognition, you will find that what you thought you were trying to make happen was already true, waiting on your consent. It makes no difference how insistent the symptom seems when you have learned what prayer is. You do not command the body like a drill sergeant barking at a private. You do not scold it into order or flatter it into health. You recognize life where fear claimed absence. You acknowledge the animating presence that forever forms, maintains, sustains its instrument. And the body, being effect, falls in line with cause. Do you see? The violin does not create the music because you shout at it. The musician breathes, and the instrument vibrates. Prayer is the breath of that recognition. Now this is sacred work, and treat it so. Do not go out and say, "I've learned a new technique to get results." There are no techniques that move God. There is realization that reveals God already moving. Sit you down quietly. Let the inner assurance rise, not manufactured, not dramatized, the simple, clean awareness. I, within, am the life of this body. I, the presence, am its law. Then you need not fight, you need not cajole. You abide, and harmony shows itself as naturally as dawn dismisses darkness without a single argument. And remember this, because it opens our next step. Though God fills all space, the world is not benefited by abstractions. It is blessed as presence finds outlet through an individual. There had to be a Moses for the Red Sea to be recognized as path. There had to be a Jesus for the multitudes to touch what had always been near. There has to be a you, conscious, still, transparent, to let recognition become experience. We will take that up, but for now, correct your praying. Stop the bargaining. Stop the drama. Recognize. Rest. Let cause be cause, and let the instrument be an instrument. And watch how quietly grace goes to work where it never ceased operating. It makes no difference what yesterday reported. Where presence is realized, today is new. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God's. So let us take up what I hinted a moment ago. Though God fills all space, the world does not eat abstractions. Presence, unrecognized, is like sunlight outside a shuttered room, full, radiant, ceaseless, and yet the room sits in darkness. Do you see what I'm getting at? The sun didn't fail, the shutters withheld. So it is. There must be a you, a window, through which the already present light may pour into visibility. God is not made more by your consent. God is made known. The law does not begin when you believe it. It begins to benefit when you live it. There had to be a Moses, not to possess God, but to let a path be seen where only waters were feared. There had to be an Isaiah, not to corner the Spirit, but to speak its comfort into a people's despair. There had to be a Jesus, not to monopolize the Father, but to reveal what sonship looks like when transparency replaces selfhood. There has to be a you. Otherwise, where shall your household turn when fear rises at midnight? To a principle on a page? Or to a living awareness that can be still enough to say, "Peace, be still," and mean it? Now, don't make the fatal mistake. This is not ego importance. Must we become special to be a channel? Certainly not. A window is not more important than the sun, and the wire is not the electricity. The channel is sacred precisely because it is not personal. It is surrender. It is the willingness to stand aside of self, of reputation, of anxious doing, and be a conscious transparency through which grace operates. The moment the window boasts, it becomes cloudy. The moment the wire claims power, it burns out. So it is with us. To stop being the doer is not laziness. It is obedience to principle. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God. Not inactivity, non-interference. This too will lift that old anchor of self-blame from your heart. When a symptom flares or a fear returns, is it a moral failure? Nonsense. It is a bell at the door, not a judge with a gavel. If the room dims, you don't condemn the sun. You turn to the shutter and you open. If the radio hisses, you don't accuse the broadcast. You adjust the tuner. So it is. A setback is a cue. Return to stillness. Open again. Recognize again. It makes no difference how many times you return. Each return is a fresh consent, and grace needs only that, the unresisting channel. Treat this as something sacred, secret. Do not go out and say, "I am the channel." That is the quickest way to lose the thread. Keep the practice in the inner room. The channel opens by the word within, the holy I. Not the pronoun of personality, but the presence that spoke, "I am." Keep it quietly. Guard it like a seed. Let it take root until it becomes reality rather than recital. All that I need, I am, because I is the activity of God in me. Hold it there, secretly, until it flowers as natural healing, as unlabored harmonies, as a life lived by a state of grace. Then you will know, without strain and without announcement, why the world needed a you. Not as a doer, but as a clear pane for the light that was always shining. Be still. Let it through. It makes no difference what yesterday reported. Today, open. And watch how presence, finding outlet, becomes practical, visible, inevitable. Now we go to the root word of your life, and treat it as a holy thing. I. Not the little pronoun that signs checks and keeps a diary. Not the biography with dates and decorations. The deepest I is not age, diagnosis, history, or body. Those are labels pinned on a garment, and the garment changes. Do you see what I'm getting at? The I that you are is presence. It is the life that looks through forms without being trapped in them. It is the awareness aware of thoughts, the light in which pictures appear and disappear while the light is unchanged. The I that you are is not housed in condition. It is the presence that conditions cannot touch. Treat this as something sacred, secret. Do not run out to announce, "I am this, I am that," as if syllables could substitute for realization. That is how truth decays into superstition and becomes one more charm for the frightened. Keep it within until it flowers. Hide it in the inner room as a pearl. Let it root until it has substance enough to carry you when the wind rises. For a season, yes, keep it locked up. Speak it to the Father in the secret place. Demonstrate it quietly. Let your own heart be convinced by what occurs when you are still. Otherwise, you will trade manna for slogans, and the window will boast itself cloudy. And now the sharp distinction. Affirmation is not realization. Must we never speak a word? Certainly not. But understand this. Repeating words at the body is still body-centered. It is bargaining with the object. I am well, said to a picture on a screen, is like shouting at the film. Noise without contact. Realization is different. Realization is resting in I am without predicate, in the felt fact of presence that precedes and outlives every picture. Be still and know, not be noisy and convince. Saying fire never warms a room. Sitting near the fire does. Pounding the thermostat does not heat the house. Contacting the furnace does. So it is. Realization touches cause. Affirmation batters effect. When the I is reclaimed, the body is no longer the seat of life. It becomes the place where life is witnessed. The temple is not abandoned. It is hallowed. The instrument is not despised. It is tuned and gladly played. But you do not ask the violin to be the musician. It makes no difference what the indicator reports when you abide in the source that corrects without strain. Power without strain, that is the mark of I am. Not push, not panic, not personal force, but the quiet inevitability by which dawn dismisses darkness without a speech. And when pain, symptoms, or fear try to reclaim identity, when they whisper, I am you, and you are this, what then? Don't wrestle. Don't take up arms. Stand ye still. Withdraw consent. Let the word be silent within. I, at the center, am presence. I am the life of this instrument, the law of its order. Not said at matter, but known in the sanctuary. It makes no difference how loud the picture argues. It is not cause. We will take up the practical standstill next. For now, seal this in your heart. I am is the end of strain, the end of bargaining, the end of worshiping and fearing forms. Keep it secret, keep it sacred, and let it prove itself. Now we come to the practical standstill, as promised. When a symptom rises, when fear pushes into the room and names itself you, this is the sequence. First, stop the mental fight. Catch yourself in the very act of bracing, arguing, fixing, and say within, quietly, not as a formula, hush, the battle is not mine. We will not proceed on fear's terms. That one inner halt is already the withdrawing of consent. It makes no difference what the picture is reporting. You are not obligated to fight the picture. Second, sit you down quietly. If you are in a chair, fine. If you are in a hallway, fine. If you are on a bus, fine. The place is not the power. Let the hands rest, release the jaw, let the eyes soften. No performance, no counting. Wait. Wait without agenda. Must we try to make something happen? Certainly not. Trying is the old religion of effort. It tightens the very knot you are here to let loosen. So we sit, and we allow the inner quiet to descend of itself, the way a pond settles when no stone is being thrown. Third, name what not to do. Don't diagnose spiritually. I must have thought wrong. I attracted this. I'm being punished. Nonsense. That is just fear dressed in robes. Don't argue with the body. Listen here, you behave. Don't threaten it with metaphysics. If you don't stop, I'll declare a verse at you. Do you see what I'm getting at? All of that is opposition, and opposition feeds the very thing you would be rid of. We will not pound the thermostat. We will contact the furnace. Fourth, make the simple inward pivot. Acknowledge the appearance without granting it power. Yes, I see the report, but it is a report, not a cause. Then, no more speeches. A single, clean recognition. This is not life. It is a report. Life is present. I, within, am that life. And rest. Rest in I am without predicate. Be still and know. Not be noisy and convince. Fifth, let peace have dominion. Peace is not passivity. It is authority. Error collapses when not fed by fear or struggle. Like a fire denied oxygen, like a quarrel unanswered, it undoes itself. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God. Do not peek at the screen to see if the picture has changed. That is bargaining again. Abide until you can feel, even faintly, that the center has reclaimed you. It makes no difference if it takes 3 minutes or 30. Time is not a power. If agitation returns, begin again. Return is not failure. return is obedience. Each time you refuse to fight, a root of fear is loosened. Each time you rest without agenda, the habit of being the doer weakens. Treat this as something sacred, secret. Do not run out of the room to announce, "I did the practice and it worked." Keep the pearl hidden until it is a full-grown reality in you. And then, rise and go about your necessary tasks without fascination. Do not poke the indicator. Let cause attend to effects. Repetition of this, patiently, quietly, without theatrics, matures consciousness. The day will come, oh yes it will, when you will no longer battle at all. A symptom will knock, and there will be no one at home to argue. Only presence recognized, and harmony revealing what was already true. Stand ye still. Withdraw consent. Let grace, unopposed, do what it eternally does. It makes no difference what yesterday reported. Where I am is realized. Today is new. Now let us come to this matter that has frightened so many of our students and sent them back into self-judgment. The so-called setback. A flare of pain, a return of fatigue, a number on a page that slips the wrong way, and immediately the old tribunal convenes. I failed. I lost it. I must not have realized enough. Nonsense. A setback is not a verdict on you. It is a bell at the door. It is not punishment. It is reminder. It tells you where identity slipped back into form, where attention drifted from cause to effect, from I am to I am this condition. Do you see what I'm getting at? The bell does not condemn you. It invites you to the door, to recognition, to stillness, to the sanctuary you already know how to enter. Now here is your stabilizing question when the bell sounds. Does it make any difference, really, if the grace of God is with us? If the sustaining presence that breathes stars is the life of this instrument, does an uptick or downtick on a dial dethrone it? It makes no difference. Not because we are careless, but because we are rooted. We measure by inner peace, not by outer fluctuation. Weather changes. Climate abides. When you notice yourself running to the window every 5 minutes to check the sky, come back. Sit you down quietly. Ask it again. Does it make any difference, really, if grace is present? And wait until the answer is not a sentence, but a felt quiet. Must the then ignore the reports and refuse all responsible action? Certainly not. Maturity is not negligence. You can change a schedule, call a practitioner, consult a physician, adjust a diet, take a rest, without panic. The difference is whether you are worshiping the body's reports or listening to the instrument you tend. One is fear-based obsession, living by the needle's swing. The other is responsible care, serving the music by keeping the violin in tune. Now you see, wise action taken from peace is obedience. Frantic action from fear is idolatry. And when improvement comes, and it will, because cause is cause, be grateful. But be grateful rightly. Not, "Oh, I'm so glad the number moved," as if the number were a power. Rather, "Thank you, Father, that the presence which ever operates has revealed itself here." We are not grateful for the toy that can break. We are grateful for the life that gives, sustains, and restores. Then, if a cloud passes again across the face of the sun, you won't panic. You'll remember the sun. It makes no difference. Treat every recurrence as practice material, not as shame. Return is not failure. Return is obedience. Each return to stillness lifts another root of fear. Each refusal to personalize a symptom unties another knot you once tightened with anxiety. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God's. You are not proving your prowess, you are yielding to principle. And as identity is restored to I am, without predicate, without strain, healing ceases to be a project and becomes a byproduct. It appears the way dawn appears, quietly, inevitably, without argument. In the end, this bell that once frightened you will become a friend. It will call you, not to alarm, but to sanctuary. It will whisper, "Come back to who you are." And you will answer, not with speeches, not with bargains, but with the simple recognition, I, within, am presence. I am the life and the law of this instrument. Peace, be still. Then you will watch, without fascination and without fear, as harmony reveals what was already true. And in that revealing, a voice you recognize will speak as benediction, not to impress the world, but to steady your heart. I am. Now, let us gather the whole of it, and make of it a single stance you can live by. You are not the body. You are consciousness, the living I through which the sustaining presence operates. The body is form. God is cause. The body is an instrument. Grace is the musician. Prayer is recognition, not persuasion. Non-resistance is the law by which evil undoes itself when it is no longer fed by your fear. And the channel, do you see what I'm getting at? Is your consciousness, transparent, still, unboastful, through which the eternal already finds outlet. Hold it together now. Identity in I am, conduct in stillness, gratitude for cause, care for the instrument without worshiping or fearing it. It makes no difference what the indicator shouts when the center is this. Healing, then, is not your project. It is the natural shadow cast by realized identity. I am. Therefore, I do not fear the body, and I do not worship it. I am. Therefore, the instrument is safe in the law of its musician. Must we stop tending the instrument? Certainly not. We tend it as temple. We honor it as indicator. But we refuse it the throne. Stand ye still. The battle is not yours, but God's. And in that stand, harmony appears the way dawn appears, quietly, inevitably, without argument. Now let the word rise within, not as proclamation to matter, but as realization before the Father. I am the life of this body, but not contained by it. I am the peace that stills the storm before a word is spoken. I am the strength that does not strain. I am the bread that is sufficiency in the very place of lack. I am the water that renews without effort. I am the light that reveals and requires no defense. I am the way through what looked like a wall. I am the resurrection and the life where endings stamped their verdict. I am, without predicate, without panic, without boast. Hold it silently until it glows rather than echoes. Be still and know. Treat this as something sacred, secret. Do not argue metaphysics with the world, and do not argue it with your own body. Demonstrate it. For a season, keep the pearl hidden until it has weight in you. And take home a simple discipline. Morning. Sit you down quietly and recognize cause. Father, I yield. I am the transparency for thy grace. Midday, when fear or symptom arises, stand still. Withdraw consent. Return to I am without predicate. Evening. Be grateful, not for toys and numbers, but for the presence evidenced throughout the day. Thank you that thy law, already at work, was seen. The day will come, mark it, when you will no longer make the body your master or your enemy. You will live from presence, and the body will follow. You will walk the world unafraid, taking wise steps without anxiety, and you will find that harmony keeps its own appointments. It makes no difference what yesterday reported. Where I am is realized, today is new. So I send you from this room, not with noise, not with banners, but with a word kept holy in the heart. Stand ye still. Let cause be cause. Let grace be grace. And let the natural shadow of your realized identity fall gently upon your path, blessing you and all who come within your silence. I am.